We are here at the Great South Run.
The Great South Run is Britain's biggest 10-mile race and is held annually on the island city of Portsmouth. I have fond memories of this race, having run it 3 times previously and setting a personal best in 2015, 7 years before, of 1 hour, 4 minutes and 57 seconds. Confusingly, my name was Lee for the race, but that's another story. After a very long comeback to fitness and recently averaging 38 miles per week, coupled with a recent performance of 38.13 at the Bristol 10K, everything was going well, with perhaps the exception of my weight, which still sat at 90 kilograms after a few too many biscuits. Following 7 long years, I had little idea what to expect from this race, but in the end, I really wasn't prepared for what the Great South Run was about to bring that day, both in atmosphere and pain. I'm Harry Morgan, and this is Jog On. That morning, the Great South Run was witnessing near-perfect conditions as the final touches were being put to the finishing straight. An orange number for an orange top, we had arrived.
The famous 10-mile race, Great South Run in Portsmouth. Let's go.
With runners slowly gathering, I'd advertised a Jog On meetup and warm-up run, so I went to meet those who had come along.
Nice to meet you. This is my girlfriend Charlie. She loves you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
A demonstration of what it's all about, handshakes and hugs were exchanged between members of the Jog On crew, and we decided to take a group photo. Another superb moment in the history of Jog On. After meeting a few more people, we headed out for our group warm-up, with myself taking a drawstring bag, looking like I was 9 and late for school. Amongst those on the run were Jog On crew members Andy, Emma, Ian, Steve, Paul, Jack, and a man whose number had the name Mark, but he told me he wasn't actually called Mark. We jogged our way down to Southsea Castle and along the West Battery, sharing running stories and our thoughts on the 10 miles that we were about to take on. As our small group jogged on, it was turning out to be an even more stunning morning on the English South Coast. Having parted ways with the crew, we caught the beginning of the elite women's start, in which friend and Olympian Steph Twell would be running alongside gifted elites Kate and Becca.
Come on, Steph.
As the elite men in the orange wave gathered, I spoke to the ever-amazing Neil, who previously entered one of the Jog On virtual runs in a snorkel and flippers. But for the Great South, he was very much flipper-free. Further up, a guy called Matthew waved. It later turned out that he was sporting a pair of Jog On socks for the race.
Don't know what we're going to run today. We're going to try and enjoy it, try and run quick, and we'll just see what the time is.
The one and only Roy Gill. And pink wave, I will do another one for you.
Adjusting shoelaces, another warm-up began, which seemed to focus quite heavily on waving and clapping our hands, but I was looking to run seriously, so felt I should probably keep clapping. We finished with some squats.
I love that right now we're in the orange wave. It seems so appropriate.
Barely ankle-high material around me, the bold Jog On socks were locked and loaded. This man was loving it. And then the race began.
Great South Run, here we go.
A fantastic Great South Run. It's Britain's biggest and best long 10-miler.
Crossing the line, we poured down past barriers and spectators and began to move into position as the race opened up.
Okay, here we go. Great South Run 2022.
Turning the corner, the father Steve was immediately visible on a grassy roundabout in his electric orange.
Steve Morgan in the Jog On top. Yeah, we're looking all right.
The first kilometre ticked over and I spotted Annabelle, an old acquaintance from an athletics club of which I was once a part. Just as another member, Ryan, serendipitously pulled alongside. The sunglasses went back on. We had Britain's biggest 10-miler to complete.
Currently tracking Jog On Jim, who's moving well. That's 2 kilometres, that's a 4 flat. Love these signs. Well done, random stranger. Coming past Gun Wharf Quays now.
The bagpipes spurred us on and we headed towards Portsmouth's famous historic dockyards.
11 minutes and 2 seconds.
Tarmac turned to cobbles and we moved our way between the large boathouses of the dockyards. Spinnaker Tower could be seen poking up into the sky behind HMS Warrior, and we crossed the 3,000 metre line.
4:01, 3rd kilometre.
Jog On Gym was in sight, and I was feeling surprisingly good holding this sub-25k pace. But there was a long way to go, and the sight of HMS Victory by the 2-mile marker served as a stark reminder of this. At the back of my mind, I knew I would be looking to run under 20 minutes for 5k over 3 times in a row. A scary thought. Up until some months back, my fitness would never have been able to carry out this pace, but would the consistent training finally pay off? I really wasn't sure. With the realisation that we still had 80% of the route to go, I
Eased off a little on the pace there. 4:04. 5k coming up next.
Speaking with Poppy, a classy runner who'd recently broken 19 minutes for 5k, the atmosphere cranked up to a whole nother level. Speakers blaring and people cheering, Portsmouth was giving runners an incredible reception.
What atmosphere! The Great South run's amazing!
Cheering on a girl I'd raced 3,000 on the track with some months back, we rounded a sharp bend and pushed on towards the city centre.
Bit of a pickup, 3:53, 5k just snuck inside 20 minutes, 19:58 for 5k.
The first sub-25k was under the belt, and central Portsmouth was very much alive with the spirit of the race.
Oh, you can't deny, superb atmosphere.
An arch, drums and fluorescent men.
Just saw the legend that is Matt Faramus.
Matt had been there on that day 7 years ago when the 64.57 personal best was run. Water arrived.
Go! 6.66 kilometres.
It was then that I saw Ryan, a cap-wearing runner who never fails to make fast running look like he's out for a smooth Sunday jog. Past 4 miles, we saw electric orange Steve again.
3 on the car.
Entering Southsea, I encountered halfway and a very enthusiastic lady.
Halfway! You are smashing it!
Well, thank you very much. That lady said we're all smashing it, apparently. So this is halfway in over 32 minutes. Good support around the bend. We push on.
Off my left shoulder and going strong was Eliana, whom I had previously met in Yorkshire at our Jog On Northern Parkrun meetup.
What a great city.
This pace felt fast. If I held even splits, it would mean a total time of 1 hour, 4 minutes and 40 seconds. Just 17 seconds inside the PB. I knew it was about to burn, and I felt dangerously close to that time.
Just past 9 kilometres, 1k to go to that 10-kilometre mark. We'll see what the time is there. It's hurting, but keep pushing through.
With 7k left to run, I passed the awesome Roger and his guide runner and swept up the road to draw level with the 6-mile sign. As a woman in black by 3 black cars clapped, I was
coming up towards 10 kilometres, 10k in exactly 39 minutes and 50 seconds. It really wasn't that long ago. I was pushing for that sub 40, so to be able to do it in the middle of a 10-miler
was incredibly positive. The amazing rock choir were out in full force to sing their encouragement, and with them a double-decker bus of supporters cheered from above.
11.1 kilometres, which means it's just a park run to go. It's burning, but we're going to try.
Close to 7 miles, another water stop with which I tried to ease burning muscles and a rising body temperature.
Trying to stay cool. 12.22 kilometres, really starting to burn. Approaching that 8-mile mark. Let's try and hold these 4-minute Ks or just under. Here we go, come on. Oh, it's hurting now. Coming up to the bend at Eastney, and then a long run for home. 13k. 3:56 on that last one.
A small group of us had formed as we rounded the final bend before the beach straight, including the ever-determined Callum in blue.
Round the bend, onto the seafront.
Silhouetted against the sea air, this last 1.8 miles was going to really hurt, and I knew it.
56 minutes. We can see 9 miles. Come on, Jog On crew.
Often the camera doesn't communicate it, but my legs and lungs were in agony, and my brain was telling me to slow down. Briefly acknowledging crowds, it was good to see the 9-mile marker, although in so much discomfort, I didn't know if I could maintain this pace for another 1,600 metres. I then found myself running with a much cooler looking man than me, by the name of Dylan. Whilst I was gasping for air, Dylan looked like he'd just left a futuristic ski slope. I ticked off my third sub-25k, but could barely appreciate it. Cheerleaders brought us through 800 metres, which in this state felt like a lifetime of distance, and I tried desperately to ignore the pain and maintain good running form. Encouragement from runner Stuart, and we were gaining on the 400 metres side.
We are here at the Great South Run.
Futuristic Dylan gave me more encouragement, but I could barely think straight. So very keen now to try and run a personal best.
Let's go, Harry! Come on!
Hands above him, Steve was right there on the final corner. There's no way to truly show it, but this final straight was just pain.
200! Come on!
Estimated time for their finish. Could you check that out? You are
7 years this PB had evaded me. It was grit your teeth and go.
We are here at the Great South Run.
It's one of those. That last 2-mile straight was absolutely hideous. It's just long and the crowd's thin out a bit. Hi, Jack. So, thank you, man. Brilliant. We're doing a sort of selfie because these guys want to be in the video. More and more dehydrated. Oh yeah, no.
Catching up with more Jog On crew, there had been news.
Official time just came through, 64:13, a personal best. Absolutely delighted. I promised myself that I wouldn't wear carbon shoes until I got a personal best, and I knew I was roughly back to the shape I once was in 7 years ago, so now it might be time to try carbon shoes. The jumper's on, the medal's out, and that was an amazing event to be a part of. The atmosphere was absolutely incredible. 40 to 50 seconds off the PB. This has been Great South Run 2022. I'm Harry Morgan, that's Steve, and this is Jog On. My legs are dead.